Good morning, everybody, and happy Friday. Jeff getting ready for the show, drinking down his hashtag at Prime for today's show. We saw LeBron's legacy is in jeopardy, possibly. Are the Miami Heat for real? The Panthers looking sharp in Game 1, plus Jeremy's exciting day in Chicago. We got a lot to talk about today. Looking forward to get into it. Jeffrey, how are we doing today, my friend? And Jeffrey is frozen again.
I feel like that was like one of those AT&T commercials where it's like, do you have AT&T fiber? No? Oh, you have Spectrum? Oh, well, this is what happens when you lag, you know? Yeah, exactly. It's terrible.
It is actually terrible. Your internet's garbage. But hopefully in the new house it's a little bit better, right?
Yeah. We're gonna change some things up. We're gonna make sure that everything is hardwired and it'll be a lot better.
Are you on wireless right now?
Yeah.
Oh my God. What in the tarnation hillbilly backwoods internet broadcast are we doing here?
You know how far away it is from where my router is?
Run 100-foot cord through rooms. You know, that is funny because I know your house was probably built, what, in the 80s?
This
90s?
house that I'm in now?
Yeah, 90s?
I think probably early 2000s.
Still, even then. Well, actually, you know what? My house is only 6 years old, and there's not internet ports where you would think there should be internet ports. Definitely not in every room. You know, it's definitely Wi-Fi driven. But you would think that they would have, this day and age, with everything that's going on as far as, you know, everything being done online, chat GP, stocks, everything, that you figure each bedroom would have a wired connection.
I actually bought one of the AI bots yesterday. Just to have. I don't know. It was $40 for the year. And I was like, let me just buy this. I typed in some questions and it gave me some feedback.
Isn't Chat GPT free?
This is a different one.
Is there one that can tell me when to buy stocks and sell stocks yet?
I'm sure. I haven't played around with it like that.
Well, they have algorithmic programs that actually do all of that for you. And that's usually, that's 90% of what the stock market is now. And when you look at like the stuff that's moving, and you know, us is called, what are we called? Retail traders, right? We're like the slim. So you got like 90% of it's all controlled by computers. You got about 9% that's controlled by like big brokers who are also using those. And then you got the 1%ers like us that are out there trying to scrape $100 here and there. And meanwhile, these guys are making $1 billion purchases, moving the market however they choose. You know, it's billions type shit, you know? Bobby Axelrod. Bobby Axelrod. Show went downhill after he left. Show went downhill after he left.
I didn't know he left. I didn't watch it since he left. So
you remember when
I stopped when it was like the very last thing with Taylor and they split. But then Taylor and him were going to team back up at the very end. I don't know what season that was, but I haven't seen it.
You remember? Were you there when Mike Prince came in?
For one season.
Yeah. That's it. Revolved around him. He ended up taking over the firm and.
There was a split. This is what happened. Is COVID happened and they stopped filming, I guess, that season or whatever.
I don't know who the actor's name is actually that plays Bobby Axelrod, but Showtime did the exact same thing to him in Homeland. Do you remember? Did you watch Homeland?
One of my favorite shows. Right.
So, you know, I can't remember what his name was in that, you know, but he was one of the main characters and they just killed him off. And again, after he left, it went downhill. So Showtime, maybe
keep storyline.
Keep the guy around.
They also transitioned him from Homeland into Billions. Same thing as Showtime show. Anyway, we're getting off on a very big tangent over here. You know what? The only thing, you know,
I like it.
We're speaking about my internet and how respected this podcast is. I get up. My wife's working from home today, so my internet's going to be a little bit shoddy because she's power boosting it for her job. And she's hardwired in, by the way.
Naturally.
So I get up and I have my hat on and my shirt on. Where are you going? I go 10:30 on Friday. She just looks at me with a blank face. Where are you going? I go, I'm going to do the podcast. You know, I get
the same thing.
Not once ever in my life have I ever remembered that you still do that.
Same thing.
Like,
I get up. What are you doing today? I thought I might go play some volleyball.
I don't know.
Yeah, going to the West Wing. You know what happens over there. Anyway,
another one of my favorite shows, by the way, West Terrence Dorkin is a goat when it comes to writing.
The last thing I'm going to talk about before we get into, I want to get into Jeremy's exciting recap. We definitely got to talk about that.
Good story.
The only thing that, everybody, including you, has talked to me about The Wire. Now, I've seen. Yeah. I'm kind of a TV buff. I have a lot of time on my hands. I'm a movie buff. I watch a lot of different movies.
But you don't know. You own a multimedia company. It's your job to do research.
Correct. Yes. I did get into The Night Agent, which was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Hooked from the start all the way through.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Blacklist is another good one that is actually kind of coming back now. Now that it's this last season, it's starting to get good again. It kind of died. Mm-hmm. But I tried to watch The Wire, and I've never seen an episode of The Wire. And so everybody's talking about The Wire. One of the best series of all time. It's up there with Breaking Bad. And so I went into it with the same show. I went into it with the same mentality as Breaking Bad, because Breaking Bad for me, season 1 was tough to get through, but once you got through season 1, it was kind of fire. So I'm kind of going through that with the same thing. I'm like through episode 6 or 7, and I reached out to the guys on the group text. I'm like, when does this get good? But I have noticed that I've seen a lot of actors, and I put them right off the bat, like the concierge from John Wick, who recently passed away. He was the lieutenant. Michael B. Jordan, as a kid, working the streets. I mean, there's some big name actors in there that made their series off The Wire. But man, it's brutal, dude. I don't think I can do it. It's brutal. I'm waiting for some New Jack City type stuff to start coming through, because it's kind of got that New Jack City vibes.
Wait, bro. It gets good. It's really good.
I'm gonna have to try it on. Well,
just wait.
Let's move it on here. Let's Jeremy, are you on the line here? Do we have Jeremy available?
I am here. Good morning, boys.
Good morning, sir.
From Chicago.
So Jeremy had a nice fun day in Chicago yesterday. Had some an interesting start to the trip, to say the least. But Jeremy, would love to hear the recap, everything that you did. Can you take us through from the start of your day yesterday all the way through?
Version.
Yeah, all the way through to I think about 2:30 this morning is when this charade concluded.
Well, I got back yesterday afternoon. It was a Wednesday. We started out, got to the airport, 7:30 flight, got to get up after closing the night before. Got there early and met up with one of my cohorts, Javier. And we were sitting there, and we both are like, so have you heard from Ariel, our third person Ariel? Nope, haven't heard from her. 7 o'clock, get a message that she says she's on her way. Tell her, okay. Phone call, nothing. Him and I wait to get on the plane till 7:24. She says she's coming through security. We tell the guy at the desk, hey, our third person's on the way. We get on the plane. Wait. No one gets on. All of a sudden, the flight attendant brings this gentleman over and says, this is your seat, sir. And we're like, oh, crap.
Wah.
Exactly. Javier and I get to Chicago, and now Javier's a good kid. He's 21 years old. Him and I haven't had a lot of interaction, so it's kind of like, what are we going to do? So I'm like trying to figure out what we should do. We go see one of our boys, Scott Lagramata, up at Cortino. And we said, we'll start there and figure it out. Great dude. Lags is there, welcomes us in, puts us up at the bar, tells the bartender they don't have a tab, just whatever they want. Put it on.
Now, hold on. Before we get into that, to get into that point, we talked about this a little bit yesterday before the show. We kind of had a rolling little what if type scenario here. We were contemplating, 1, did she even wake up? 2, did she even make it to the airport? 3, was it all a ruse? Or door number 4, she was just literally late and caught the next flight, which is what I proposed.
So as we're sitting there, I get a text message, and all it says is landed. And I'm like, where? What? Come to find out, Ariel did make it through security. She was late. Her Uber canceled on her, so she had to get a second one. But she ran to the door, and the gentleman that I had talked to before we got on the plane goes, Ariel? And she goes, yeah. And he goes, click. Sorry, can't reopen the door.
Wait, the door was open still?
He was pulling it closed, looked at her, and said her name, and then clicked the door.
That's some bullshit right there.
Frontier, baby.
So she had an issue with that. So luckily they got her on the next flight. But lo and behold, as you guys both said, did you call her and see if it went straight to voicemail? Did not call her. She also did not think to send us a message saying, hey guys, I'm on the next flight. Didn't know anything. So 12:30 gets around, she rolls in. We're like, okay, perfect. We went and did some tourist stuff. We went and saw the Bean. Went to Grant Park.
Yeah, can I hold on 1 second here. 1 second here. Can I talk about this Bean post here for a second? Because, Jeffrey brought up a very good point here. You said, can anyone guess where I'm at today with the picture of the Bean tagged with the location of said Bean?
It was a rhetorical question, of course. It was.
Well, I think the rhetorical question would just be posting the picture of the Bean, because obviously there's no other beans around.
But also, a lot of people have that picture. I tagged it. You're right. I did that incorrectly.
Good call out, Jeffrey. Good call out.
Not the social media maven that you are.
Man, I got 15 ha-has off that.
You did. You were gaining traction. So where did you go? So you went to Scott. You saw him at Cortino's. What else? What other spots did you hit? Did you go to Gibson's?
Everyone.
We did. We went to the Hancock Building and did the tilt experience from 94 floors up. I can tell you, I love roller coasters and stuff like that. I did not enjoy that at all. Being leaned out 94 floors up on glass is terrifying. So did that. Went to Hugo's, had some oysters, some nice lobster escargot. It was delicious. So then we go to check into the hotel. Now the hotel I stayed at was the Whitehall, very nice hotel in the Gold Coast. It is pricey, and we walk in, and the lady looking at the front desk looks at me and goes, "Oh, you're back. Did they send you back up here again?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "No, I'm just up here for the day." She's like, "Oh, hold on, I got your reservation. Let's see if we can get you guys a little higher." Now the room I booked was for $150 for 2 single beds because I thought it was just me and Javier. This lady upgrades us to 2 queens overlooking the city. Beautiful room, great stuff for $75. So that was a bonus.
Well, okay, so
we go.
Hold on, please, because we have the 2-bed situation. There's 3 people. So was did you and Javier sleep together?
Javier and I did not sleep together. No.
So what was the sleeping arrangements?
At 2:30 when we got back to the hotel, it was fall down and sleep wherever you were.
And where were those locations at?
Did anybody fall down on top of you?
No, boys.
So
completely platonic. They're friends, bro. Completely platonic. Let's not get into this. Right?
That's fine. I just want to know locations. I just want to know if Javier and Jeremy ended up close to each other. That's all.
No.
Okay.
Well, the fun thing was I had my boathouse jacket on. It was 50 degrees and fairly windy, so I had my jacket on all day. And every restaurant we went into, everyone's like, "Oh my God, boathouse!" We walked into Gibson's, and the people, like the first person that saw me was the manager Mario. Comes up, shakes my hand, introduces himself. "Hey, I'm Mario. You're from the boathouse. Pleasure to meet you." Like 3 other people did the same thing. We walked through the restaurant after they said, "Oh, you must be Jeremy." To Ariel, and she's like, "Yeah, how do you know?" And they're like, "Oh, it's an employee reservation. Like, we don't have a lot of those, so you guys must be them." Every employee's shaking our hand. "Hey, how you doing? You're from the boathouse." Our server Boz took care of us. Said, "What don't you have on the menu?" Got us stuff. We had their crab cake. We had a little wedge. We had garbage salad. We had. Then he brings out the meat and says, "Here's everything we got." He goes, "We got the WR cut."
Brings out the meat.
Yeah, they actually bring out a tray. It's all saran wrap. They bring it out. They used to not saran wrap, but now they do. But they bring out a tray of meats. It's select your steak that you want. Yep. And he brought everything out. This man brings us a tomahawk, a WR cut, and a lobster tail. No joke. That was, man, I can't even. It's an Australian lobster tail. It was ginormous.
$170 lobster tail.
Yep.
Just a drop in the bucket for Jay Swizzle.
Drop in the bucket. Our tab was $600. Just for dinner.
That's not bad for 3 people.
No. And then
my appetizers in Miami are like $800.
Yeah, it wasn't Miami prices, but they gave us a great discount, and we ended our night at what would I like to dub Kitty's North, which is a bar called Dublin's. And as we were leaving Gibson's, a gentleman from Philadelphia who saw my jacket, he's like, "Oh, my family loves that." Starts talking to us, follows us over to Dublin's, then proceeds after the bartender goes, "Hey, welcome back," to me again. I'm like, Jesus, these people remember everybody. He goes, "Oh, by the way, give him back his card. Their drinks are on me all night."
Hey, there you
So
go.
we drink for free, and then we end up waking up at 6:25 for a 7:15 flight, and missing that flight, and got back yesterday about
Nice.
3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Let me ask you a question, Jeremy. From your last time up there, did you have your certain signature mustache? Do you
I did not.
Do you have that mustache now?
I do.
Okay. For those of you that don't know, Jeremy has a very distinguishable mustache, which was very reminiscent of one of the world leaders back in the day. So I could see how they would be very recognizable of him.
Let's make sure we take care of this guy. Could be a wild card, folks.
Could be. Well, I'm glad you had a good weekend or a good day up in Chicago. Always good to get up there. I'll be heading back up in June, actually. Looking forward. I'm actually not going all the way to Chicago. I'm going back to my hometown, so should be a good time. But congratulations! Glad everybody had a good time. You know, I wearing the Boathouse jacket, the Gibson jacket around Chicago might be the key. I think I have a few. Move. I think I have a few of those left.
Power move. You know, I think that's the one thing that I'm disappointed about is that, you know, being with a company for 7.5 years, and obviously I've moved on, and I got a phone call a couple of days ago, basically saying that, hey, we got to fire you because you haven't worked a shift in too long, which is cool. I get it. I understand. But I think one of the most disappointing things that I didn't make it up to Chicago to enjoy that experience. I've never been to Chicago. You know, so
maybe if you would, you know, get out of your paper fan mentality. I've offered, you know, many times to go to Chicago.
Yeah, it's just I have children and a wife, and
Jeff, don't even talk about your schedule and availability to do things. Okay, you are an enigma of the married family world. You're a man that has done things that most men can only dream about. So I don't even want to hear it. Not today, Satan. Not today.
It just is. I just wish I would have got up there, but it is what it is. I'm glad Jeremy had a good time, though. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
I want to go to a Cubs game at some point in my life.
Absolutely. Well, maybe let's get you to a Bucks game first. How about that?
I went to the last Bucks game I went to. I don't enjoy the games live as much.
Yeah, we all know why. So moving on to some other news here in Orlando, we had Disney, and for those of you who don't know, Disney and the state of Florida have big. I don't know if you want to say whipping it out to see who's is bigger.
Pretty sure every person who's listening to this show knows what's going on in the state of Florida.
Right, but I'm looking for the people that, you know, are going to click on this by chance and, you know, say, oh, what are they talking about? So obviously there's been some stuff going on in the news with Disney and DeSantis and this, that, and the other having battles. Well, Disney came out and announced that they are not going to be building their Lake Nona facility, which they were supposed to bring their employees from California over and set up shop over here, was going to have a bunch of Imagineers, things of that nature. They pulled out for what they consider as the change in economics and business leadership changes. Of course, here in Florida, everyone has a very, very strong opinion about what's going on, either one way or the other. And as Jeffrey liked to say,
we value all those opinions.
They find a way to talk out of their ass out of both sides, regardless of which way you say it. It's either this, that, and the other. But Disney came out and literally said that this has nothing to do, that they're committed to Florida. They have $18 billion in projects. This just wasn't the proper time. And everybody's over there hooting and hollering about how this, that, and the other. Disney's in the process of laying off tens of thousands of jobs. They're cutting $5 billion out of their payroll at the moment. So if you're laying people off and you're cutting costs and you're doing this while raising ticket prices, I might add, and we're going to get into the Galactic Star Cruiser debacle here in a second. What good of a look is it to spend another $1.2 billion on developing a campus for employees that you already have stationary? It makes no sense. But of course, everybody's jumping on. There's a lot of derogatory comments. I have to say.
It's easy to make it a hot point, talking point, because of a lot of the stances that our governor has taken. And you know, I always say when it comes to politicians, you know, I hate all of them pretty much. But do you agree with more than, I'd say, 45 to 50% of whatever politician that you have is elected in office does? If not, then probably get them out of there, right? But that's your own decision. That's whatever you want to do. This particular instance, to me, it's just funny because it's like, we sit there and we'll complain that the establishment and the big corporations, have all the money and they show up, and they take all the land, and there's nothing left for the little guys and the crumbs and this and this and this. And this is always a big talking point. And then when something like this happens where they pull out and all of a sudden now that land is available for you to be able to purchase possibly at a less of a rate than whatever it was because, they fell out of contract with it. Well, now it's a problem of, well, now DeSantis is costing us jobs. It's just like we got to kind of – we always say on this podcast, we just want you to be 100, whichever way it is. You know what I mean? Don't flip-flop on us. Don't sit here and talk out of both sides of your mouth. That's the most frustrating thing. When it comes to this, I think Disney is still very much invested here in the state of Florida and will continue to be invested here in the state of Florida. Could this be like a bargaining chip or a power move? Absolutely. And if you don't think corporately they're doing this to maybe try to soften his stance a little bit,
I don't think it is. I think it's just strictly, like I said, Iger's come and said that they need to cut $5 billion. Okay. And this goes back to what I was talking about. Once I started digging into stocks, right? And once I started looking at stocks and how stocks move and things of that nature, the moment that you become a publicly traded company and somebody buys stocks into your company, right? Every quarter as a stockholder, you want to see what? You want to see more profits, right? More profits.
Shareholders.
And it's not sustainable. It is not sustainable for any company to continue to make profits over and over, quarterly. Again, as somebody that has been at the tippity top in the restaurant industry and looking at over $25 million P&Ls, I can tell you the easiest way that anybody that can cut costs as far as making money to a bottom line is cutting out your labor. And that's exactly what Disney is doing right now. They're cutting $5 billion worth of jobs, right? And this is the evil empire that the America has created with stocks and going like this. Is every single company is in this bag. Every single company that is traded on the stock market is in this bag. They have to make more money. And if they don't, what happens? Then the CEO gets fired. But, to me, when it comes to losing jobs and losing money and the big bad corporations, I think these CEOs and these companies and these boards, the board of directors, things of that nature, have to look themselves straight in the mirror and say, when you're paying out $200 million in quarterly bonuses, but yet you're looking to cut $5 billion in jobs, I think there's a little bit of a problem there. I think we can all agree on that. But as far as, like you said, as far as Disney, they're absolutely not going anywhere. It would be inconceivable for them to try to pick up and move anywhere. As far as the power moves, Disney's going to continue to be Disney. They're going to continue to cater to what they feel that their clientele is. And DeSantis is going to continue to feed towards what he feels his clientele is and what he feels that the state of Florida represents. But as far as anything else, as far as power move, there are so many people moving to Florida right now. It is absolutely insane. The housing market is insane. It's not going anywhere. It's tough to even buy a home. I feel so sorry. We got so blessed and so lucky that when we bought our home, I know you're going through it right now, but there's a lot of people that don't make the kind of money that your household makes and be able to get in to buy a house. I feel so sorry for them. I really do.
We literally bought, We love the house that we're hopefully, we're waiting on the appraisal to come through and hopefully we'll be getting, but it's also out of necessity because there is nothing on the market. And the problem is that all these people who bought at 3% interest rates are looking at the market right now saying, why would I sell my home and have to get a new rate that's going to be anywhere, I got a great rate at 5.9, but the first rate they quoted us was 7.62. And it was like, well, kind of is what it is. You're going to have to bite the bullet for a year and then refi. But
But who's to say the interest rate's going to be, who says the interest rates are what they're going to be in a year from now either? You just don't know. Like I said, we got lucky in 2020. We bought right before.
I think they'll go down.
We bought right before COVID hit. We got like a 4.5 rate, but even then that was high at the time. I didn't care. I just wanted to get in. Lo and behold, like I said, our house has doubled in 2.5 years, doubled in price. But to your point, I'm not going to sell it because where can I go? I'm going to be buying at the tippity top somewhere else, and my interest rates is going to go up. It doesn't make sense.
And the only place you can live is 45 minutes away with terrible traffic. It's
absolutely
the dichotomy of where we are in Orlando right now. That's why the West Coast is always so appealing when it comes to.
Dude, I want to go there so bad.
Moving over there, I just want to live on the Gulf and just have a boat and jet skis and just.
If I had unlimited funds, I'd be in Miami. If I had unlimited funds, but since I probably never will have then Tampa St. Pete is where I would
Well, you
love to
never
be.
know.
Yeah,
Play
you
the
never know.
Powerball.
That's
you
what
know.
I do. I'm going to buy tickets
And
today.
if you don't play.
Let's dig into a little
Can't win if
NBA
you-
action. How about LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers lost again last night to the Denver Nuggets. Obviously, one of LeBron's hopefully more forgettable games. A little curveball I'm going to throw at you here, Jeffrey, today is, you talked a little bit about the hate of LeBron. I actually felt sorry for LeBron last night. I really did. And the epitome came to a head for me when he kind of tweaked his ankle a little bit. He laid down on the floor. And my first reaction was, get up. Like, what are you doing? And then I remembered the other day that I was walking down the stairs and I kind of twisted my ankle a little bit. And I felt like my foot was going to fall off. Now, LeBron is not the same age as me. I am a little bit older than LeBron. But I think we forget that LeBron James is 38 years old. Out there competing with kids in their mid-20s, upper 20s, low 30s. And he still plays at a high level. And, we saw some very, very uncharacteristics. The miss of the wide open dunk down the road, the turnovers. And I know we're going to dig into his three-pointers, but I hate to say this, man. I really do, because I do kind of consider myself a slight LeBron hater. And I think that's just because I guard Jordan so closely because I am a Bulls fan. And I don't want to see anybody overtake him. However, I kind of felt sorry for him last night. I did.
The dichotomy of the way everything is, because so many people, view Jordan as the greatest basketball player of all time. And I am not here to argue that point with you. What I am here to say is that because of the day and age that we live in, very social media driven, you have a lot of things that go the other way. So everybody is so quick to hate LeBron and not want to see LeBron succeed or do well. I'll be the first to say I didn't like LeBron when he first started his career. I hated him when he went to Miami. Thought it was.
I think everybody did, unless you were unless Justice, probably Justice.
Maybe Justice, yeah. But I legitimately hated LeBron. Now, as we grow older, and as he grew older, and I was able to watch him and respect what he was doing more because of the pressure and because of everything that he's always had on him. And he didn't, like Jeremy had a great point last night. He never used the line "the chosen one." That was an article that was written about him when he was coming out of high school. They put him in that humongous, chair, that throne, if you will. And
he did it. He did accept King James, though.
Sure. Would you?
I don't know. Probably.
You wouldn't. I mean, come on, bro. You're 18, whatever. But as he's gotten older and as his game has developed and his game has changed, I've grown to have more respect for LeBron. That being said, that game that LeBron played last night was one of the worst that I've seen him play. And we can talk about age. That's fine. And yes, he shouldn't be doing the things that he's still doing at 38 years old. Listen, you're on a wide open fast break. You're 38 years old. I don't know why you're trying to do the reverse, side windmill dunk, on the fast break, when those points legitimately matter. And he had a layup where he got hit by the rim as well too. That was 4 points right there. They also missed the layup at the very end, so that's 6 points. They end up losing by 5. LeBron is going to have nightmares about this game for a long time.
Absolutely.
And in my opinion, he looked tired.
He did play 40 minutes.
100%. And listen, him and Anthony Davis, I think they were a combined 13 of 34 from the field. AD was 4 of 15. We can't have those games. That's very, very tough in my opinion. But what I want to say is that in today's NBA, right, and at 38 years old, when you don't push your body in the regular season to go through the grueling challenge that the playoffs are, this is one of the I remember for some reason that the playoffs being much more spread out than they are this year. I feel like we're getting a lot of back-to-back games, and I don't know why that is. Maybe I'm completely wrong about that. But
there's no back-to-backs.
No. What I'm saying is that the travel days. They used to say, okay, you're off for this game and you have a travel day this game. You know what I'm saying?
I think that there would
be like 2 games in between. They're not doing that this year.
They do it on the travels. When they go from Denver to LA, there'll be 2 days off in between.
No, there won't.
Well, let's look it up. Go ahead and continue. Go ahead and continue.
Because what I'm saying is that this idea of rest and this idea of preserving your body for the playoffs is all good and well. But the problem that it it brings up is that you don't push your body to that point of being tired and being ready for those moments. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there, I feel like, and I hate the sitting out games. I wish they
Load
could play every
management.
single game. Load management sucks, man. But I understand it from both sides. I understand it from my side as a consumer and as a fan. I want to see them play every single game. I understand it from the team side because they want to protect their investments and they don't want injuries. And the injury risk on back-to-backs is much more greater, and so on and so forth. So I'm not sure what the answer is, but I do feel like there is a disconnect of when you don't push your body to that point that it's familiar with that being that tired and going through those steps. I think that's where we run into trouble.
I think Stan Van Gundy said it the best when he was talking about it with KD. He said, whatever we're doing now isn't working. Because back in the day when everyone played all the time, there was much less injuries. And I do remember, I do believe it was 38 years old when Michael Jordan played for the Wizard. He played every single game. There was no load management at 38. Now, we all know why Jordan played all games, because he was trying to get people to come to the games to make money on the Wizards. But he still played every single game. And I completely agree. And there's no reason. Now, again, LeBron James came into the league before Michael Jordan. He came in at 19 years old. So he's been in the league forever. I mean, he's a staple in it. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't even know who Michael Jordan is, the youngers that come up with them. But you were right. There is no 2 days off in between travel days. That is a little crazy. Now, with that being said,
it's just weird to me this year. I don't know why.
With that said, though, I mean, Denver to LA is what? An hour plane ride?
Oh, it's not. But I mean, listen, Boston to Miami. Boston, Miami. They don't have any time between.
Well, I think so. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I was told it. If you want to go to the game, there's plenty of tickets available going on this weekend down in Miami as well too. If you'd like to go see Game 3 or 4,
absolutely,
please show up to the American Airlines Arena.
It's not the American Airlines Arena anymore.
What is it?
I don't know. Jeremy, look it up. I know it's not that. But I think so. Like on these travel days, right? So like last night. So that game was over. I'm assuming the LA gets on a plane that night and goes home, so that they're home that night, and that they have the whole next day. Now, of course, they're going to go through walkarounds probably today as well. But they do go home that night versus staying over the night, flying in the morning, and then trying to do that. But you're absolutely right. I mean, that is tough. I think it's even tougher when you look at baseball. Look at baseball. They play pretty much every day. They're all over the place, but a little bit different, as far as physical. But I agree with you. And, at 38 years old, as we've said throughout there's other people that have to take this off of. We just expect LeBron to come out and do LeBron things, and we expect him to score. Every time he shoots the ball, unless he's outside the 3-point line, I mean, we expect the ball to go in. And even when he shoots it from the 3-point line, it looks so pure, it looks so effortless that you still expect it to go in. Not like Jokic, where Jokic looks like you're shooting a rock out of a sling. He winds it way back and get over the old Bill Cartwright days. But
I do have an interesting stat for you though about LeBron and shooting threes. You said every time LeBron pulls it back, you think that it would be going in. LeBron has missed 19 straight 3-pointers in the fourth quarter of the postseason. It's the longest streak in the last 25 years. He has struggled mightily with his jump shot, and he has struggled mightily with his jump shot, especially later on in games. He had multiple opportunities in Game 1 to bring them within, striking distance, or hit a big shot. He had multiple opportunities last night to extend the lead or to get back in the game or what have you. And at the end of the day, it's a young guys league, man. Jamal Murray with 23 points in the fourth quarter, incredible.
Jamal Murray absolutely took over. And we talked about Anthony, we talked about Anthony Davis and his need, before we kind of move a little bit on to the Nuggets and what that they've done. But I said at the start of this series that I thought Anthony Davis was going to get beat up. I thought that the Joker's like a big body on him. They're pressing all against it all game long. Obviously, Davis is trying to guard him as well. It's just wearing him down. I think you're starting to see that. I did say that game the whole time, just so you know. And I think that's what you're starting to see. I mean, 40 minutes again for Anthony Davis with only, 18 points. I don't know. But absolutely, as you said, Jamal Murray just went off. Obviously there was a lot of Jason Tatum comparisons, not having a really good game up through the first 3 quarters, and fourth quarter absolutely lighting it up. It seemed like that they couldn't miss. Between him, Michael Porter Jr., those two guys hit the daggers, hit the shots that need to be. I was a little surprised that Caldwell Pope. Caldwell Pope had a really good game the last game, hitting those threes. He struggled from the 3-point line again. And Jokic, Jokic didn't have to do a whole lot today. 23 points, 17 boards, but he did have 12 assists. And that's what's crazy about Jokic, right? We look at his stat line, 23, 17, and 12, and we say, He had a triple-double, and I think that it ties in I think that was his seventh or sixth triple-double. I think seventh. Just in this postseason.
Seventh. Is that like 4 or 5 in a row?
Yeah, I think it's either 6 or 7. I can't remember. But, when we looked at, say, 23, 17, 12, we're like, he didn't really have a good game. That, to me, is just mind-boggling. It really is mind-boggling.
It's a game the Lakers should have won. They'll have nightmares about it because this was the game that you get on the split. You go back. Now, it will be interesting to see if Denver's shooting will translate from home to on the road. They did struggle a little bit against Phoenix when they went to Phoenix in terms of shooting the ball, but they only had to play 2 games there, so we will see what happens.
I think the Nuggets steal one. I think they go back to Denver 3-1, and I think the Lakers get 1 in Denver, and that's it. 4-2. Give me the Nuggets 4-2. That's how the series is going to end. Any predictions, Jeffrey?
Interesting take. I've said Lakers in 6, so I'm just going to stick with it.
Oh, so Lakers are going to rattle off 4 in a row?
I don't know. What do you want me to say? Lakers in 7? Is that better?
Well, I think that's better than 6. I think that's better than 6.
All I said was that I said Lakers in 6 to start, so I'm just going to stick with it.
Okay, well, you can amend things, Jeffrey. You can, move, dance around the punches.
I know.
Well, in the Eastern Conference Finals, the Boston Celtics showed up again and did Boston Celtics things. Unfortunately, Timothy and the Heat and Eric Spoelstra, my goodness, that man can coach, goes into Boston, takes game 1, 123-116. Wow. I don't know. Like, you called it once again. Jeffrey called this one. He said that give him the Heat every which way, which I don't think they covered the first half, by the way.
They didn't cover the first half.
Right. But they came out second half. Jimmy Butler did Jimmy Butler things. And then the Boston Celtics just looked discombobulated again. I think you called it right on. Coming off a tough Game 7 series, at home, looking to be big dog or big favorites. I'm sorry. And just coming out there and they're flat-footed again. It's the same thing we see throughout the Boston series and Celtic. The series is they have 2 or 3 games where they just look like they're not there.
Yeah. Well, listen, this is exactly what happened in New York, right? Miami got game 1 in New York. They came back game 2, right? Jimmy Butler missed game 2, didn't play with that rolled ankle that he had, and obviously it was still a game. It was still a good game. Miami Heat were right in it up until the very end, but the Knicks pulled it out. I do expect kind of a similar thing. I think the Heat will be in this, but I do think that too much Boston going into tonight's game, they will end up taking over and kind of running away with it at the end. It'll be 1-1 going back to Miami, and then listen, it's anybody's ball game from there. You can get Jimmy Butler in Miami. Playoff wise, Jimmy Butler has been absolutely incredible. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe Justice is right. Who's stopping these Heat?
I'll tell you who's stopping the Heat. It depends on the Miami fans. Miami fans, you better show up in Boston because as somebody that went last year or 2 years ago, I'm sorry, whatever it was. I got the memory popped up on Facebook today. Boston fans show up. Boston fans show up. And
Portland will be courtside.
Yeah, I saw he had the Celtics in 4, and then today he had Celtics in 5.
Yeah,
he's something else, dude. Did you see his post where he come down and says, "I'm not saying that since I moved to Florida, I brought my championship mentality with me, and that's why the Florida Panthers are doing well." But I'm not going to get into that discussion. But he's funny. Dude.
Speaking of the Panthers, what was the quote I saw? It's that South Florida isn't scared of any hurricanes. Yeah. Unless its name's Andrew.
Yeah, that one kind of. Just to recap here a little bit before we get into that. So, to the point, Joker, 13 playoff games, 7 triple doubles. The Celtics are 9-point favorites tonight, and there are still tickets available in Beantown for $168 in the 300 levels.
Beautiful walk up, like to walk into that because it looks like almost like a mall. right? It's like all encompassed and enclosed, like walking into that stadium. I don't know. It looks very beautiful from whenever I see pictures.
I'm a pretty travel kind of guy as far as sporting events. Although I am fading out, I'm becoming more and more of a paper fan every day as coming aligned with my good friend Jeffrey. I don't know if I would walk into the Garden in an opposing jersey. I don't know. Now, I'm not a smaller guy, but I'm not a big guy either. However, when the beers are flowing, we all know that in Boston they like to talk their shit. I can handle it to a certain point. I just feel like it's gonna end up in a fight at some point, and I'm gonna lose. Because even if I get the first guy, there's gonna be 7 other guys coming right behind him.
I will say I couldn't imagine myself like going with my kids and my boys.
Oh,
and
definitely
like
not.
Us like going and like sitting somewhere for like even sometimes the swamp makes me nervous, bro. Like as a Florida State fan having to go into enemy territory unless you're with Florida fans.
Yeah.
Like I went to Miami's home opener. It was the year that Florida State played Alabama to open the season. DeAndre Francois ended up getting hurt. James Blackman came in. We lost, but it was like number 1 versus number 2 to start the year. And I was in Miami. It was my birthday. All my boys were Hurricane fans. And I was like, listen, I'll go with y'all to the game. I don't care. So I wore my Florida State shirt. We tailgated. We had a great time. We go into the game. I get like multiple people who walk up and try to square up with me. And my boy Eddie is 6'3", bald, Cuban, and he's about it. With me, he would stand right in front and be like, "You want to fight or you want to talk? You can talk all you want to, but you're not going to walk up and square up on my boy." So everything was cool, and like most of that stuff ended up playing out fine. But listen, if I didn't have people there who were fans of the team, if I was just there walking around in a Florida State shirt, bro, it was not going to be okay.
Honestly, I can't imagine taking my kids to almost any sporting event. To be honest with you, it's just. Well, maybe baseball. Baseball is a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more chill. But NFL games,
a home game,
But NFL games, I mean, they're just as brutal. College down here is even worse for all you Northerners up there. You guys don't know football if you haven't been to a football game in the South.
No idea what it's like down here on Saturdays, bro. It is. When you go to one of those college games, it is an experience of a lifetime, dude.
I'm always amazed by the kids that are sitting courtside. I'm always
the younger kids.
I don't know if I'm like you, or if I'm like, that must be nice. My favorite ones are the ones that are too young, like literally like 5, 6, that are never gonna remember it, right? And they're sitting in a $10,000 seat. It's just like, okay, bro.
Speaking of courtside, did you see how LeBron had his little flail or whatever on Jokic, and obviously they come right back down and they call the flop. When Jokic flops the very next play.
Jokic told him that was coming, right?
Jokic. And like you saw LeBron just like smile about it. Like I can't even say anything. Like,
exactly.
What it is. But I will say this: LeBron slides over and he slides into a fan. The fan's got a drink in his hand, right? And the drink spills on LeBron. And there was a small little moment right there where LeBron's like, oh, and the fan reaches over with a towel and hands LeBron a towel, and LeBron grabs the towel and taps the guy on the leg like, "Thank you, man."
He said thank you.
Yeah, like, and let's just all be good humans like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's sports at the very end of the day. You don't got to taunt, LeBron when he's walking. Like, just
you can taunt, but when moments like that,
taunting sucks, man. Like, it's why I don't like Bruce Brown, man. Every time he hits a 3, he turns around and he's like yelling at the bench, and it's like, come on, bro. Like,
well, I think that's kind of what it is, So like. When they hit a shot and they're doing this, but they're doing it at the crowd, the people, whatever. I mean, you're gonna cheer. Nothing, obviously, I don't know, what do you call it, harsh comments or something like that. But I don't know if you saw after that though, when he took the ball out, LeBron. I think this is before he committed the double dribble, which wasn't called, by the way. But he's
double dribble. He never even picked the ball up.
He palmed it.
Possession of the.
He didn't have possession
of the ball. It doesn't matter.
What do you mean doesn't matter?
He doesn't have possession of the ball yet. It's not a double dribble.
He palms it, picks it up, and drops it. And then picks it up again and starts dribbling. How is that not?
It's not. It's not a double dribble. You have to physically have possession of the ball. He never had possession of the ball with his palm.
It was in his palm. It was in his palm. He lifted it
This
up.
is what I talk about. With people like,
He lifted it up.
he did not. He did
How did the ball rise then?
Get the clip.
Jeremy, get the clip. Jeremy, get the clip.
Pull the clip.
Pull the clip. And while Jeremy's pulling the clip, I don't know if you saw after that though. So like when he was inbounding the ball and he got the ball, he still had some of the drink or whatever, and he kind of went like this. Did you see that? Yeah, he's like, oh, little vodka soda here, huh? Ooh, a little taste.
Good thing Portnoy didn't see that, because that
He
was
did.
just fed into his.
He did.
What did he comment on it?
He commented on the towel, and first of all, he said that the fan that gave the towel is an absolutely despicable human being. And then he also, hold on, let me get it. Then he also came out and said, normally I would be in bed right now, but I have to force myself to stay up because my hatred of LeBron cannot wait until the finals. I must prepare myself throughout the Western Conference Finals. Bro.
It'd be so sweet for me to see LA versus Boston in the finals, and then LeBron beats Boston. Like, oh God, Portnoy would just melt.
Yeah, you would. Well, what was the thing I said about the Sixes? Remember I sent that thing about the Sixes, about how it's like all aligned for us to happen? Yeah. Well, they're retiring Bill Russell's number, which is 6. It was like 6. Obviously, LeBron wears 6. I'm telling you, it was all. I sent on the group text. I'm surprised you didn't see it.
A lot of messages on there sometimes.
I did wake up to 125.
Yeah. Well, we started talking hockey, so if you want to delve into that real quick.
I do, but I want to make sure. Oh, here he goes. This man, the guy that handed out, this man is a disgrace. I'm disgusted. And this is the other one. I want people to know that I've reached the point in age of my life where ordinarily I'd be going to bed very soon, like me. But right now I'm working my mind back into peak hate LeBron mode. I can't expect to just show up in the finals and be ready for war. I got to get locked in now. Say what you want about him. Obviously, he's got some pretty hot takes. He's got some pretty dumb takes. But the man stays true to who he is. I will give him that.
Is LeBron James the most hated athlete of all time?
Definitely the NBA. I think so. I think definitely NBA.
Athlete-wise, I'm trying to think about somebody who people have as much vitriol for as they do LeBron.
Barry Bonds?
No, I don't think so.
O.J. Simpson? Tom Brady?
Tom Brady's hated
by everyone except for New England and Tampa Bay.
Also very much respected, though.
Roger.
Right?
Well, I think LeBron's. Well, I don't know. I can't say that. Like I said, hold on. People, like I've told you numerous times, I respect LeBron's career and everything that he's done as far as his accomplishments. The fact that again, he was given a bag at such a young age, didn't go out and pull Ja Morant moves, didn't do Jalen Carter type stuff. Those are just some of the stuff that's fresh. That's why I'm saying it. I respect that 100%. I just don't like a lot of his antics. I just don't like the way that he carries himself as far as being the best player in the world per se. I guess I'm more of a Michael Jordan kind of guy that, just I've said that before where I said, it does no good to compare greatest of all time in different generations and stuff, because anybody can come out with their point. If you're looking for rings, it's Bill Russell. If you're looking for this, it's somebody else, whatever. But however, I do respect his game. What about Roger Clemens?
Roger Clemens?
Michael Vick? Lance Armstrong?
But see, those are like niche hatred people. I feel like globally it would have to be like a soccer player.
Terrell Owens?
Or a footballer. No.
I don't know. I don't know anybody.
LeBron clears on every one of those for hatred.
I don't know.
And honestly, all those people did fucked up things. Pardon my language, mom and dad. But all those people did some stuff that was like, they cheated the game.
I don't think mom and dad watch anymore after Chad's last comments. So speak freely, I guess.
What was the joke he told?
I don't know. Not that one. When his parlay rant. I got an earful after that one. It's probably why our viewerships are down because my parents don't watch it on replay anymore.
It's funny because we were talking to Vivian last night, and we told her the joke that Chad said, right? Which, if you missed it, it was a very offhand joke. You can go to the very last page or whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, told the joke, and then Vivian goes, I kind of find that offensive. And I go, why is that, Viv? And she goes, because straight women love that too.
Absolutely.
She goes, it's not only for lesbians, it's for straight women as well. I go, well played, Viv. Thank you so much.
Well played. Well, as we were talking about 125 text messages when I woke up today, I went to bed at, I think, in the middle of the third overtime between the Panthers and Hurricanes. And what a great game. The defensive by both teams was really good, really good. When I first saw the line, I thought the same thing. I thought, it's got to go under. I think that a lot of the first games in any series, just like the Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights, will go under as well because everybody is trying not to lose. But what a great game. I know that you guys actually stayed up for the whole thing, which I love to see. Guys, we are getting Jeffrey into hockey a little bit. What? No? All right, well, I'm gonna let you take it over here.
Nah, well, like the only argument I had is that it just reminded me of soccer on ice. And now when I say that, it's because of the rules, right? The offsides that you have, the way that, I feel like the attack sometimes reminds me of, you're moving from side, you're trying to move the puck from side to side to get the goalie out of position to then score. Obviously, they're going at a much higher rate and they're hitting each other and it's much more physical. In my opinion, I said this last night as well, too. I feel like hockey is probably more physical than football. In certain ways because of the way that you're not allowed to hit people in football anymore. Old school football is very different, but hockey, it's just like you can just blow a guy up. It doesn't even matter. It's just like get back out there and put your bootstraps on.
You're lucky Ian's not watching today.
Oh well, we went back and forth last night, but I will say that it did remind me of soccer on ice because we did go. How many overtime periods were there?
We had almost 80 minutes of overtime periods.
80 minutes without a goal.
Played two full games.
They're just like, it's just like, and listen, there was opportunities, there was chances, teams missed some things. You're in that moment, you're tired. I can only imagine, what you're going through. And yeah, it's just what it reminded me of. And, obviously I said that on the group chat, and after you've had a few at, 1:15 in the morning and you say that, the reception was not great. I can tell you that. Our good friend,
as well, it shouldn't be.
We're more than happy to have on the program whenever he'd like to come on, as long as he can watch himself. We'd love to have him. But yeah, that was just my opinion. Soccer on ice. It's a very beautiful sport.
Very poor take.
Dance up and down and skate around, and they do their triple axel, double toe loop.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna board check you into the wall right now. Watch you ooze down the boards into the ice after that comment. We absolutely talk nothing of that nature. Hockey is by far one of the most grueling, intensive sports. It has no comparison to soccer other than on paper, when I will talk about as far as what you're saying, as far as trying to get that. On paper, I can kind of see a little bit about that, but that's it. That's it. There's no Ted Lassos or this league. There's no this no soccer spray.
No Ted Lassos?
There's no Ted Lassos in this league, sir. But yes, so the Panthers take game one. I tell you, I said after they beat the Boston Bruins that I'd like them to win it all. So we'll see what happens. We got the Stars and Golden Knights tonight. Over under is 5.5 on this one. Vegas is favored. Just give me the dog and give me the under. Give me the dog and give me the under. Yeah, give me the dogs.
The Stars and the under.
I always like the dogs game one. You got to take a little plus money whenever you get the chance. But
heard that.
That's good. Jeremy, you have anything else that you'd like to discuss? Any omissions, errors, or anything to report? We'll do a little PTI interruption here.
No, I think everything was good. I think I think we talk about the hated thing. I think LeBron also did Space Jam 2. That also got him a lot of hate for that because I can't ruin that movie.
Tyson, have you watched Air yet?
No.
Wow. I watched it.
I don't know, man. The movie industry is so starved for movies at this point. It's just, I don't know, man.
Did you watch Space Jam 2?
No, nor did I watch Space Jam 1.
See, that's the difference. You got to know your ops. You know, gotta know your ops.
I don't need to know my ops. I don't need to know it whatsoever. And I will go as far as to say is LeBron wasn't the most hated until he did the decision. That sent him into the stratosphere as far as hatred.
Do you remember when they lost to the Magic, right? They lost to the Magic, and he stormed off the court, ripped his jersey off, stormed off the court, didn't shake anybody's hand. Normally, you know, you lose a series, everybody, you know, boom, it is what it is. And I don't think he's ever done that.
They don't do that in NBA. A lot.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Well, most of the top players, when the series is over, they give love.
But if you look at like
one way or another,
when we're talking about this and talking about
appreciation, they don't line up in a
game,
handshake line.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, look at hockey. Hockey, still one of the best pure sports competition to imagine, right? So think about this: these conference finals, right? You just lost, right? They're celebrating. Pinwheels going off. It's like winning the Super Bowl, right? And then having to line up and shake the other person's hands. Imagine the grit that it takes to be able to do that. But yes, go ahead with your storm off the court.
I think that was the beginning of it. Him storming off the court, you know, not shaking anybody's hand. I remember as a Magic fan, I was like, this guy's a punk, blah, blah, blah. And then he does the decision. And he does it for the Boys and Girls Club of like one of the most affluent areas in the country that the decision benefited. And then he goes to Miami and teams up with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. Now, looking at the arc of LeBron as somebody who respects LeBron, looking at the arc of where he went from to what he had to learn to be able to lead teams in the manner that he has now. And, you know, now that he's won, you know, multiple championships since he's left the Heat, you know, I feel like and listen, let's be 100% honest. This is a huge moment for LeBron's legacy as well, too. If LeBron gets back, let's say they lose 4-0, right?
Don't even talk about Jordan again. That's what they're going to say. 100%. But on the same token, they said if he wins another ring, he is now in a valid discussion. But if he loses this, get out. You're done. But I will say, as far as LeBron hatred goes, I'll tell you, I was watching one game, and one game that really pissed me off is he was checking in, and he had warm-ups on, right? And he goes to take his warm-ups off. And then the guy, you know, the warm-up equipment guy comes running up to grab his stuff, right? And he's standing there with his hand out like, hey, I'll take it. He takes it off, looks at him in the eye. Swear to God, he looked at him right and threw it at his feet. And that's when I was like, you know what, bro? I mean, come on. Like, come on. These are people too. You know, that just got the I don't tip vibes right there. That's just what it is. That's got I don't tip vibes.
You think LeBron doesn't tip?
I don't know. I don't think he needs to tip because I don't think he goes out because I don't think he can go out. I know that he would. Go ahead.
They were asking Dwayne Wade. They were saying to Dwayne Wade, they go, "Who's the cheapest person that you've ever played with?" And he goes, "Without a doubt, LeBron James." And LeBron is like, admittedly, like, yeah, I'm not buying. Like he was talking about how Pandora, he doesn't have ad-free Pandora.
Yeah.
Like there's certain stuff in life where he just feels like I'm not paying for that. It's ridiculous.
Right. He wouldn't pay the $11 or $8 a month for Twitter to have the blue check mark. He said, "I'm not paying it." So Elon paid it for him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I guess you got your priorities. He's obviously got generational wealth. He's almost a billionaire if he's not already. You know, I mean, you do with what you want. I mean, hats off to him. I mean, generations will never have to work in that family if they don't want to.
You should definitely watch Air.
I will.
It's an incredible movie.
I will.
Really good. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Viola Davis, Jason Bateman from Ozark fame and from, you know, obviously, what was the other thing? He was
Growing Pains.
Arrested Development as well, too.
Growing Pains.
Sure, I'm not that old, but, you know, some really good stuff. He's a great actor. Definitely, I love Jason Bateman. What do you got going on this weekend?
I don't know. I don't know.
Laying low, watching golf, chilling out.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Actually, I got to brush up. I'm doing some wine studies. You know, talking to our boy Ian about, you know, the stuff that I might face as far as procuring employment over there.
You're gonna a lot of French. You know, you're gonna have a lot of.
He told me to focus on the left banks, right banks type stuff.
Yep.
And then I reached out to Bryce as well, because obviously he works over at Wine Bar George.
Wine Bar. Yep.
To see if he has some stuff. So I'm going to be studying up on that a little bit. I do have a baby shower to go to that I got an invite for like a day ago. Yeah, I guess it was like a 2-day notice as far as a baby shower.
It was a few days ago. Whatever. I forgot about it, bro. I just remembered to request off the other day. So there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
The third one. It's the third one. Like, I don't know.
So I will be there at that. Unfortunately, my wife has to work, but I will be there.
I still don't have a name, honestly, for this child.
Tyson's a good name.
That was the original reason why I downloaded the AI bot, because I literally typed in, I'm like, what names go with Noah and Oliver? And it spit me back like 10 names, and I was like, okay.
Javier.
Well, it's funny because literally the 10 names that it spit back, like 6 of them we've debated on. So I'm like, look how good we are, babe. We're smarter than the AI.
Was Javier one of them?
No, it was not Javier. But thank you.
No problem. No problem. All right, Jeremy. Anything?
Just name him Jesus.
Jesus. It's pronounced Jesus. Jeremy, anything that?
Speaking of,
oh boy.
You see this ban? Well, whatever, bro. You already dove into politics. So with DeSantis
at the beginning of the show.
I know. All right, whatever. I'll let it go then.
We're gonna bookend it here. We're gonna bookend it. Let's hear it.
Well, do you see the whole thing with DeSantis and like the law that he signed, and it was basically like about child, not child trafficking, human trafficking and stuff like that. But it's going to end up, coming down the path where like if you employ anybody who's illegal, you get fined money, and they're the migrant workers who work the fields and work a lot of construction and stuff like that are basically he's trying to push them out right now. And because of that, they're saying that the construction costs, are going to go through the roof because things are going to be delayed. The workers that they're having to hire now are basically lazy POSs, and the crops aren't being tended to and taken care of and all this stuff. So,
All right, well, let me finish with this, okay? So, as somebody that's been around the restaurant industry for a long time and done multiple hiring, there is a significant problem with illegal workers in the system per se. And these people are not represented whatsoever. When we're talking about the field workers and stuff like that, they don't have unemployment insurance. They don't have workman's comp insurance. They get paid basically under the table. And if they do get a paycheck, what they all do is they claim married and 9 dependents. So therefore, if they're making $1,000 a week, they're bringing home $950. They're not contributing as anybody else does. Now, with that being said,
I don't know if that's fair to say, though.
What do you mean it's fair to say?
Well, they probably have 9 dependents.
But they're not filing taxes either, is what I'm trying to get at. They don't even file. There's nothing. There's no back end thing. Okay. So what I'm trying to say with this is there's a serious, like, everyone wants to talk about the border. Everyone talks about this, that, and the other. There's a serious problem with our immigration flow. We are a big enough country, right? So if somebody wants to come to our country legally, there should be no reason that they can't, regardless, unless they're a violent criminal, murder, rape, those types of things, drug cartels, things of that nature. But if somebody wants to come seeking political assignment, coming for a better life, which everybody came from hundreds of years ago that allowed us to all be here for then they should be allowed to come. If they can pay $2,000 to a coyote to bring them over and cross the border, they could pay $2,000 to the United States government to process their paperwork. And if it's not $2,000, then it could be $3,000. I guarantee it, whatever the amount is, they will come up with the money if they were given the due process and not take 5 to 10 years to be able to cross the border legally. Then once that happens, then they can actually get a job that has a good pay, that has benefits as well. But on the same token, all of these workers that have exploited, the companies that have exploited these people for so many years and paid them $10 cash, this, that, and the other, I'm looking directly at them. You are part of the problem as well. You are trying to get, to make cheap labor, things of that nature. It's just like restaurant industries, right? Restaurant industries, you have, servers sometimes out in the front half that are making very, very good money. And then you look in the back and the top cook's making $15 an hour. Okay, that's $600 a week after taxes. You're getting about $450, which is probably less than a server can make on one night, right? But they're accountable for 80% of the interaction of what makes the restaurant tick. But on the same token, that owner wants to see a 20% bottom line, 10%, on the thin end. And then when they get, 5 to 10 restaurants, then they start making money. There's a big problem with the whole thing. My biggest thing is there needs to be a serious immigration reform. And that's what nobody wants to talk about. Everybody just wants to talk about closing the border. Everyone talks about sending migrants all over. Right now, the title Article 40 or whatever just is expiring. So I don't know if you've seen the southern border. It's an absolute chaos. There's so many people down there that are trying to get in. And if we figure out immigration reform to be able to process people, it shouldn't take 5 years to process somebody that wants to come to this country. There's no way. It's 2023. We're supposed to have flying cars by now. We're getting close, apparently. We can't process a person's background in under 5 years. Give me a break. Give me a break. I don't understand it. If you want more money, you want more influx, you bring these people over, they pay the money up front, you do the background checks. If they're good, they're going to wherever they're going. They have a real social security number, they pay real taxes, and they contribute to the economy as they already have, and they're already doing by spending their money in the country. But a lot of them still send their money back to Mexico as well, because they're taking care of their families back there as well, working 2 to 3 jobs to be able to survive. I've seen it, man. I've seen it. They show up at work at 8 o'clock in the morning. They leave my job at 5 o'clock, and they go work somewhere else from 6 to 1 o'clock. And then they come home and they do it all over again. They do it 7 days a week. And I'm sorry, but there ain't no American out there I will say that less than 1% of American that are brought up in America are willing to do that thing, to do what it takes to survive when they can get a free handout from the government if they're not meeting ends meet. I don't know. It's a big burner for me, bro. Big burner. I think that
I appreciate your thoughts on it. I appreciate your thoughts on it.
Politicians suck, bro. They just suck.
They all suck.
If it's not for them, if it's not for their buddies and the corporations that are getting the kickbacks, government lobbying's the whole thing. I don't know, whatever. I don't know. Marcus, we already talked about the Heat, buddy. It's 12:08, bro. You know this. Come on.
The Heat. I don't know. I think Justin might be onto something. Who's stopping them Heat?
We'll see what happens
tonight.
The Celtics
should be a good game tonight. I think Celtics bounce back tonight. But listen, don't count out Jimmy Buckets ever. He come to play every game. Every game he comes to play.
Don't count out Eric Spoelstra. That dude, if he goes to the finals this year, he's got to be in that Hall of Fame coach era. I'm sorry.
They definitely have the upper hand on coaching for the Heat as well.
He is something else. He is something else. Well, on that note, we're going to call it a day. I hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll see you back here Monday. We're going to recap NBA, NHL action. We also have the PGA Championship that's going on. If you haven't watched that, the weather is quite interesting up in New York, causing some serious concerns for the course and the boys out there. The Live boys are showing up, though. Dustin Johnson coming off the back-to-back just like Koepka. You never know. Stay tuned. We will recap it on Monday. We'll see you then. Everybody have a great weekend.
Be great.
Keep playing.